It's Thursday, July the 12th, 2018. Welcome to Woodstock City Council. Any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none. Disclosure of new business. Matters arising from the minutes and the minutes from June 21st. Councillor Petter?
I move that the minutes of the regular, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Shapton, that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on June 21st, 2018 be adopted.
Thank you. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And next item on the agenda is consideration of planning reports. And a motion from one of the councillors, please. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council advise Oxford County Council that the city supports the application for draft approval of a proposed condominium submitted by Sarah Properties Limited, file number CD 18-05-8, prepared by McKechnie Surveying Limited and dated June 19, 2018 for lands described as Part Lot 17, Concession 2, Blandford, Part 1, 41R 9583 in the city of Woodstock. And further, that City Council advised County Council that the City supports the application for exemption from the draft plan of condominium approval process submitted by Sarah Properties Limited, file number CD 18058, prepared by McKechnie Surveying Limited, and dated June 19, 2018, for the lands described as Part Lot 17, Concession 2, Blandford, Part 1, 41R-9583 in the City of Woodstock, as all matters relating to the development have been addressed through the site plan approval process and a registered site plan agreement with the City of Woodstock.
Thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Petter. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. This application is required to permit a vacant land condominium on that property, and the application will facilitate condominium ownership of a proposed residential development consisting of 4 semi-detached dwelling units and 26 townhouse units. Access will be provided via an internal lane, which will come directly from Devonshire Avenue. For Council's information, an application for zone change was approved to facilitate the proposed development in December of 2017, and the City granted site plan approval in May 2018. The lands comprise approximately 1.9 acres and are currently vacant. And as you can see on plate 1, the surrounding residential uses are predominantly townhouse units with single detached dwellings to the south and the southeast. Applications for condominium approval can be dealt with in 2 ways under the Condominium Act. The first process is similar to a subdivision application, where a proposal is given draft approval subject to a number of conditions. And the second process is where if a development has already gone through an approval process similar to like a site plan control application, no conditions are required, so they're actually exempt from that draft approval process, which is what this application is subject to. As I noted, the application has received zoning approval and site plan approval. As such, the exemption can be considered appropriate in this case, and staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the medium density residential policies of the official plan. And based on a review of the draft condominium plan, it would appear that the proposed development will meet the relevant provisions of the R332 zone. We should note that there were comments received from the City Engineering Department with respect to access to the interior units and also an easement over the storm sewer that is located to the northeast of the subject property. The applicant has indicated that those easements will be provided through the condominium agreement that will be registered on title for that property, so the City is satisfied that those easements will be provided. In light of the foregoing, planning staff are of the opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement and county official plan and can be given favorable consideration.
Thank you. Questions of council? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And our next item, Councillor Talbot.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve in principle the zone change application file number ZN 81807 submitted by 1904968 Ontario Inc. for lands described as Part Lot 19, Plan 1600 DA Parts 1 and 2, 41R 8447 in the city of Woodstock to rezone the subject lands from future development zone FD to special residential zone 3, R3 special, to facilitate the proposed draft plan to subdivision. And no further comments were received from public regarding this application. And further, that the City Council advise County Council that the city supports the application for draft plan of subdivision, file number SB 18048, as submitted by 1904968 Ontario Inc., for lands described as Part Lot 19, Plan 1600, DA Parts 1 and 2, 41R 8447 in the city of Woodstock, consisting a residential block for an 8-unit street-fronting townhouse dwelling, subject to the following 19 conditions of draft approval.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Lauder. Ms. Smith?
Thank you. This application will facilitate the creation of a residential block, which 8 townhouse units will occupy in the future. The subject plans will front on to Lampman Place and have a total area of approximately 0.6 acres. The proposed zone change application will rezone the lands affected by the subdivision application from future development zone to special residential zone 3 to facilitate the proposed development. The applicant has also requested a special provision to increase the total lot coverage of that property from 40% to 55% to accommodate all buildings and accessory buildings on that property. Surrounding uses include existing low and medium density residential development to the north and planned medium and high density residential development to the east and south. The lands to the immediate north recently received draft approval for a 6-unit street fronting townhouse dwelling, which is a similar application to the subject application that we're hearing tonight. A number of comments were received from agencies when the application was circulated, and those comments have been addressed as conditions that you will see later in the report. The proposed block will have street frontage and access to Lampman Place, which was extended to Juliana Drive in 2016, and services were also put in place at that time. In this case, staff are satisfied that the proposal meets the relevant policies of the provincial policy statement. Further, the proposed townhouse block is a form of development that is contemplated by the medium density residential policies of the official plan, and the proposed development will be compatible with the existing and proposed development in the area. Based on the area of the block, staff are also satisfied that the provisions of the zoning bylaw will be met in this case. Should the owner decide to make the units separately conveyable, access to the rear yards will be required by way of easements, which we will deal with through a part lot control application. In light of the foregoing, it is the opinion of our office that the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and in keeping with the county official plan. As such, we are recommending approval of the application subject to the conditions listed.
Thank you. Questions of council? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Thank you. And our next item is correspondence, and we have Rail Safety Week. Councillor Accioni.
Thank you, Your Honor. Moved by myself that whereas Public Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada and United States from September 23rd to 2018, and whereas it is in public's interest to raise citizens' awareness on reducing avoidable accidents, injuries, and damage caused by collisions at level crossings or incidents involving trains and citizens, and whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the rail industry, governments, police services, the media, and other agencies, and the public to raise rail safety awareness, and whereas CN has requested City Council adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing effort to save lives and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. Therefore, it be it resolved that Woodstock City Council supports National Public Safety Week to be held from September 23rd to 29th, 2018.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Lauder. Discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And our next item of correspondence is in regards to the SPCA No Hot Pets campaign. Councillor Lauder.
I'll move that the correspondence received from the Ontario SPCA regarding the No Hot Pets campaign be referred to staff for a report.
And a seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the WDDS request for in-kind support for the annual Runway of the Stars. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself that the correspondence received from Woodstock and District Developmental Services regarding the 2018 Runway of Stars request for in-kind support be supported.
And the seconder, Councillor Accioni. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And now on to administrative services. Our first is the application for tax relief. Councillor Tate.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council directs the treasurer to cancel, reduce, or refund the taxes levied in 2016, 17, and 18 as detailed in the reports.
Thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Accioni. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And the next item is the Woodstock Hydro Legacy Fund. Councillor Lauder.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approves the changes to Council Policy AS010, Woodstock Hydro Legacy Fund Investment Policy as outlined in the report.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion. Councillor Lauder.
I just through to the mayor to Mrs. Hilderly. Could you just give a little update on what this is about?
Your Worship, through to Councillor Lauder, the Investment Committee has met on a few occasions with our investment advisors to determine the best kind of mix that we should be investing in between bonds and corporate bonds and equities and those kinds of things. And based on that discussion, we have changed our investment mix to ensure that we have a little bit more flexibility in our investments. And as well, we've added economic prosperity to one of the standards of the form and one of our purposes under the policy. And it also allows then council could make an investment in economic development, provided that there's a 2/3 council majority and that any funds used for that purpose are returned to the fund.
Thank you. Further discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item is the Statement of Revenue and Expenditures and Statement of Capital Expenditures for the period ending June 30th. Councillor Accioni.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council receive the Statement of Revenue and Expenditure and the Statement of Capital Expenditures for the period ending June 30th, 2018.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Shapton. Discussion. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just through to Mrs. Hilderly, I'm just wondering if she can give us any update, if there's any surprises or anything happening with that statement, please.
Your Worship, through to Councillor Shapton, no, we're on course with our budgets. Thanks.
Further discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item is the sole source purchase for a solar installation at the police station. Councillor Shapton.
Moved by myself, the Woodstock City Council approves the purchase for the FIT 25 kilowatt rooftop solar system for the Woodstock Police Station.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Petter. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next item is the tender award for Hatch Street and King Street reconstruction. So if approved tonight, expect delays to start the end of July. Okay, Councillor Petter's going to cause the construction delays. Go ahead.
Not a problem. I move that Woodstock City Council award the tender for the reconstruction of Hatch Street and King Street to Oxford Civil Group, Inc. in the amount of $1,069,323.60, inclusive of HST.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Shapton. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next item is the PIDOC Public Land Review. Councillor Shapton.
Moved by myself, the Woodstock City Council authorized the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement for purchase for the property known as P1, the Square, and P2, the Sliver, for $445,000 with the UTRCA, and that the necessary bylaw be read, and further that Woodstock City Council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into a management agreement with the UTRCA for day use area of the North Shore, P3, and South Shore, P4, for 4 5-year agreements.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Lauder. Discussion. Councillor Petter.
Yeah, through the mayor, I just wonder if we could have Mr. Connors speak specifically. I've had quite a few questions on what this means to the Woodstock taxpayer, the Woodstock citizen. What will they see differently? Costs, improvements, stuff like that.
Your worship, through to the councillor's question. Basically, this agreement allows us to open up the Piddock Reservoir. Right now, we're restricted strictly to the South Shore. And with the current agreement that we're under, we don't put any capital into it because these are one-year agreements. So there's no capital. There's basically we just pay for this area as far as access, but we're not involved in making it better for the citizens, making the hard surfaces, the washrooms, the parking lots, that type of thing. That will change in this new agreement, where we would invest capital into this area from the hard surface. UTRCA will deal with the trees and trails and shoreline erosion, those type of things in this new agreement.
Further discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item is the proposed sale of 4 acres of industrial land to Prodigy Power. Councillor Accioni.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement of purchase and sale with Prodigy Power, Inc., and that the necessary bylaw be read.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Talbot. Discussion? More good news for the city. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next item is the proposed sale of 2 acres in Bisham Park to Mark Ellis. Councillor Talbot.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement of purchase and sale with Mark Ellis and the necessary bylaw be read.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Shapton. Discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next up, we have some adjustments for some of our committees. Of course, we'll be going out to the public again for the next slate of committees. So it's time for us to do a little bit of cleanup here and have everything ready for the next term of council. Councillor Lauder.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve the recommended changes to the following committees: Youth Advisory Committee, Paratransportation Appeals Committee, Economic Development Advisory Committee, Sister Cities Committee, and further that the necessary bylaws be prepared.
Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Accioni. Discussion? We'll start with Councillor Accioni and then.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just through yourself to City Clerk. Maybe you can explain to people watching at home what this means. Thank you.
Certainly, Your Worship, through to Councillor Accioni. So in advance of the next term of council, staff has undergone a review of our current committees based on feedback from this term of council. And as a result of that review, we're recommending changes to 4 different committees. So the first is the Youth Advisory Committee, and really those changes are to try to make that committee a little more flexible and a little more organic. We think that works better for a youth type committee. The second is to collapse the Paratransit Appeals Committee into the Accessibility Advisory Committee, so that function would still exist, but it would exist within our Accessibility Committee. The third recommendation is to dissolve the Economic Development Advisory Committee, and the fourth recommendation is to formalize our Sister Cities Committee. So a resolution was passed for that committee by council in 2011. However, it was never formalized by bylaw. So what we're suggesting to keep the committee going is to have a bylaw that states its mandate and purpose and composition and all those things, and we think that'll solidify it more. Now, these recommended changes, as the mayor mentioned, would not take effect until the next term of council, so no current committee members would be affected by this recommendation.
Thank you. Further questions? No. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next up is the bylaws. Councillor Petter.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Shapton, that the following bylaws be given first and second reading. 9218-18, a bylaw to provide for the dedication and naming of parts of highways in the city of Woodstock. 9219-18, a bylaw to provide for the purchase of certain lands owned by Upper Thames River Conservation Authority in the city of Woodstock, Pedoc. 9220-18, a bylaw to provide for the sale of certain lands owned by the corporation of the city of Woodstock to Prodigy Power, Bishop Park. 9221-18, a bylaw to provide for the sale of certain lands owned by the corporation of the city of Woodstock to Mark Ellis, Bishop Park.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Councillor Petter.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Shapton, that the following bylaws be given third and final reading. 9218-18, 9219-18, 9220-18, and 9221-18.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And tonight we'll start with Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Your Worship. In my absence the last little while, there's been lots of great things happening in the city, and it looks like there's lots more coming forward with our Art in the Park on July, and Street Fest coming in August, as well as the Taste of Art in September. So there's lots of stuff going on. While I was absent from the city, I was out checking out what the rest of the world was doing, and it's amazing to go to other places and see the innovation and what they're doing as far as all the challenges that municipalities meet. So got some ideas, and hopefully we'll share them with them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a few quick things. Obviously, with the weather being extremely hot, don't hesitate if you need it, if you don't have air conditioning, that we do have some cool down sites throughout the city. And to take full advantage of some city facilities, our splash pads, the pool, Lions Pool, which is absolutely fantastic, and I see that it's busy these days, which is great to see in our community. Other than that, the kids are out, so be safe, because I know they're having a blast and enjoying this phenomenal weather. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great few weeks, and we'll see you back soon.
Thank you. Councillor Petter.
Just sort of to mimic that, I just want to wish everybody a happy summer. You're not going to see us for a month. Right now, it's hot outside and in here because Councillor Talbot keeps the heat too hot in here, and I'm roasting. But be careful with that heat. We've gone through some nice hot weather. We've got more coming. Stay hydrated. That's what I like to do. You see, I knew I was going to get that reaction. Anyway, see you in a month. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Lauder.
Thank you. Just a reminder that on July the 18th from 5 to 7, the Art Gallery has an opening. It's the Visual Elements annual juried exhibition, which includes the Woodstock Gallery, the Ingersoll Arts Center, and Tilsonburg Arts. And that's all for tonight, and have a good month, and we'll be back again. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Accioni.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want to start off by saying a huge thank you to all of the staff that put on Canada Day here in the city of Woodstock. Another great success, another great fireworks. Thank you to Toyota for their generous contributions as well to make that a reality. Art in the Park, I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you're there. Victoria Park, it starts at 2 o'clock on July 21st. Friday the 13th is tomorrow. Please be careful. There's going to be lots and lots of bikes on the road. I've heard from a few people, hundreds of thousands are expected down in Port Dover, so just be careful, please. All year, but especially tomorrow, it's going to be busy. Be safe, have a great summer, be cool, and we'll see you in a month. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tate.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments about our county council meeting yesterday. I just want the public to be aware, because the more people that are aware, the better it is for all taxpayers of Oxford County. We had a motion come forward the last meeting for a consultant report that was $1 million price tag. We were able to receive that as information, which would virtually kill the motion. It was allowed to come back yesterday, and the motion passed. This was a consultant report that was sole sourced, and all it is a report for $1 million. The only councillors that voted against that were your Woodstock councillors, Councillor Talbot, Mayor Birch, and myself. the city of Woodstock pays, I think, about 37% of everything that is voted on over at county. Now, when we're there, obviously, we're thinking of all the taxpayers, and I think the public needs to be aware of what's going on. For some reason, we don't get a lot of coverage. So anybody you know that live in the other municipalities, it's very important who you elect and what goes on in those chambers, because a lot of money is being spent, and it's not being spent wisely. I'd also like to point out, and I believe it wasn't easy to bring forward, but the mayor brought forward a motion for bag tags because the county has actually been they charge $250 for the bag tags. That's not us that sets that. That's the county. Their revenue fund was $1 million over what the budget should be. So we've been getting charged way too much money. The mayor was able to bring this forward. We've been fighting with them over the garbage, and it's finally out there. We still don't get a lot of press over it, but I need the public to be aware what goes on over in those chambers. That's it.
Thank you. And of course, yeah, lots of events going on in the Friendly City, so stay up to date. And I've seen a lot of people out and about in my travels. Of course, a little more casual, less suits and ties. But over the coming weeks, I do have several days in the heat where I'll be putting on the suit. Next week, we'll be celebrating with our Japanese counterparts and all the dignitaries regarding our special relationship that the city has with Japan. That'll be taking place in Toronto, and I'll be able to thank Toyota firsthand for their contribution to those fireworks, as well as the other businesses that have been expanding in the Friendly City. The legislature is up and running in the summer. The new government is working on things already. I'll be making several trips speaking with some of the cabinet ministers and Treasury Board. We also have delegations from the city that'll be taking place with the new government at our AMO conference as well. So even if you see me in the community and I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt and some khakis, know that maybe after you see me, I'm leaving to put on another suit and tie and go and have one of those meetings. But of course, it's always a great time to be able to come back to the city, and as I drive in, no matter what entrance, know that I'm home. And we see the children playing at the splash pad near our own house, and my children are out there on their bicycles. We've heard from counselors about keeping people safe, and I've seen a few close calls recently where drivers are getting a little distracted heading to the next event, and there's young people that are out there. You need to make sure you slow down. Even though school's not in, those areas where those school crosswalks are, a lot of young people are heading to the parks. So keep an eye out and stay safe, and we'll see everyone again soon. A motion to adjourn. Councillor Shapton, seconded by Councillor Petter. All those in favor? We are adjourned.